Good morning, Mr. Houston. How are you doing?
Quite well, thank you.
Well, I want to first of all say thank you for agreeing to participate in this discussion. The title of this series is Real Talk Parental Alienation. He's more than just a baby daddy. And I know you're familiar with the Real Talk series. Just for the people who are not familiar with these seminars that I'm doing, I did a seminar, a two-part seminar called Real Talk. One of them was Real Talk for Women by Men, and it was a panel of men talking to women, or explaining to us how to satisfy their needs and things that we do that we can do that would improve the relationship. And then I did the flip side of it. I had a panel of women that were talking to the men, and we were telling men things that they can do to make us happy, to satisfy our needs. So with this series, I'm shifting over to co-parenting relationships. As a family law attorney for 27 years, I have dealt with parental alienation more than anything else in my practice. Parental alienation is when one parent tries to alienate the child from the other parent. And little things that I see or that happen on a regular basis is a parent, unfortunately, it's mostly the women, they would say negative things about the father to the child. Your daddy doesn't love you. The dad doesn't want to spend time with you. Your dad has a whole new family. He done moved on with his new family. He doesn't want anything to do with you. Or your dad is not going to come. Or look at this cheap gift that your dad gives. The child naturally loves both parents, but now that brainwashing and all of that negative stuff that the mother is putting in the child's head causes the child to have negative feelings about the father, even sometimes before they get to know the father. And so what I'm doing with this series is I'm going to talk to a group of guys, and then I'm going to talk to the ladies. And so when I put the seminars out, the purpose of it is for the women to hear what you all feel, and for the men to hear what the women are going through. Because, I get to hear both sides of the story. You all don't. And because there's no communication between you all miss it. So communication is going, y'all talking at each other, not talking to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you some questions. And the purpose of this is for you to talk about your experiences and on the topic of parental alienation. And so hopefully that, other men can listen to your story and say, oh yeah, I can relate. But other women can listen to your story and say, hey, I didn't know guys felt like that. I didn't know they were going through these things. So let's start with an introduction. I want you to tell me your name and then tell me, how many children you have, and where the child lives, and whether it's a boy or girl.
Okay, my name is Dezohn Houston. I'm the father of one little girl at the age of 15. She's been living with me since she was 7, and she's been the light of my life ever since I knew she was coming.
Now, Daddy, she's 15.
Mm-hmm.
You said, my little girl, and I was like, oh, then you said 15. Now, she ain't a little girl anymore, right?
And until she turns eye high to me, she might have a little trouble getting out of that one.
She's gonna always be daddy's little girl, huh?
Even at 80.
Oh my God. Does she know that she's the apple of daddy's eye?
I'm a little tough at times, so sometimes she may think, oh, I bet he wished somebody else was his daughter. She thought that one time, and I show her constantly, no, it's you. It is you. I'm tough because I love you to death, and I want better for you. I don't want to fool you into thinking everything's too easy. I don't want you to think that everything's going to almost kill you to get to it, but I don't want you to think it's too easy either.
Yeah. So you said that your daughter lives with you. She's been living with you since she was how old?
Since she was 6 years old.
Okay. And her mother's still alive, right?
Her mother's still alive. Her mother lives in Jacksonville, and she sees mom every other weekend.
Okay, great. So let's talk about, and then we'll lead up to life with your daughter in your household. But let's talk about before she got to your household. So she started living with you at 4. So let's talk about that period of time, those first 4 years. So were you involved with, had contact with your daughter within the first 4 years of her life?
I absolutely had no contact at all. I made every attempt to have contact the minute I knew she was born. I had to find that out through a friend. When she was born, what her name was. I actually had to find out what her birthday was through a friend, and not a
So,
mutual friend, just a friend.
so let's talk about that. How did it make you feel just not even being able to know your daughter's birthday, or not even able to know, participate in choosing her name?
Um, it made me very angry. I could say I was very angry because instead of finding out from the person that I felt that I absolutely should have found it out from, I had to make my way and find it out from a friend.
Right.
Um, and I'll just stop there where that's concerned.
Yeah. So see, I see, of course, I hear both sides of the story.
Mhm.
So was it that the breakup between you and mom was so horrible that she just didn't want anything to do with you? And that was the reason she kept that information from you?
Um, that would probably be a question for her, and I'm sure she would answer it in her own way. Um, I can say that our breakup, it was a little verbal. However, it was never physical. Um, and for as I was concerned, in my end of it, hey, I got verbal, but I felt like I was speaking honestly. I wasn't just trying. I wasn't trying to be malicious. I wasn't trying to be hurtful. I was just being honest and how I felt like the whole flow of the relationship was going. But
Mm-hmm.
she felt as though she wanted to break up, and I know one or two times we broke up, and hey, I would try to get back, but I felt that it was time to just go ahead and let it go because I didn't see any stability in that relationship.
So do
So
you believe that it was the reason that she did not communicate to you about the birth and the name was because she was just mad and hurt by the relationship?
that's the only thing I really have at this moment. I can honestly say I would understand completely if I had at any time in a relationship been abusive to her in any form or fashion. I could understand it completely then. But at no time was I ever physically, mentally, or emotionally abusive to her at all.
Yeah. So I can't even imagine life not being able to hold my sons, to be able to see them grow for 4 years. I mean, you've missed the crawling, the walking, all the diaper changes. You've missed all of that. So tell me what you were going through those first 4 years, not being able to have a relationship with your daughter.
It was very stressful. I can honestly say it was stressful. It was stressful to the point that sometimes it even affected my health to some degree. Even going to a doctor and they say, "Hey, what stresses you out?" Yes, I would be lying if I didn't mention that.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me that. I mentioned that, and immediately after the doctor checked my blood pressure, and of course, hey, I'm a healthcare professional, so I knew that my blood pressure was going to be high. And big surprise, no, it was absolutely high. After I mentioned that, I'm like, hey, yeah, it definitely is a factor in my well being, but I was more concerned about my child's well-being, and that in itself was stressful too, not knowing what her well-being, what her status was in any form or fashion.
So were you trying to reach out to mom to try to have a relationship with the daughter?
I did try to reach out to mom several times with what number that I had. I called her mother's home number, her family's home number. I called the numbers that I had with her. I got no response and no answer at all. And also um, the fact that my numbers both all my cell phone numbers, which I called and left excuse me, because it's still the same since I've ever had a cell phone. And my home number that I've had since 2000, which my child was born in 2007, it's still the same home number. I
Yeah.
purposely kept my home phone, not only for other reasons, but just in case she needed to reach out in regards to my daughter.
So why not walk away? You know, and I've heard it. I mean, you have not met her, you have not bonded with her, you have not held her. I'm sure you love her generically, but you really haven't bonded enough with your daughter for walking away to be that difficult. Why didn't you just say, I'm just going to let it go and I'm not going to fight for it?
I had every opportunity to do so, but that I didn't see it as an opportunity. Absolutely didn't see that as an opportunity. Walking away from your child is just walking away from your own pot of gold, whether you think or not. Um, they're valuable in ways that you just won't fathom. Hey, just having that opportunity to see them grow, to learn more about yourself through them, just to see, hey, just to see that you can actually be a positive influence in somebody's life, especially your own child, especially your own legacy. To abandon your child is to abandon your own legacy. That seems like just to me.
Okay. So I know you talked about health issues, and this is the point of these seminars is for people for other men going through your situation to know that other people are going through it too, but also for women to understand. So were you angry? Were you hurt? Did you cry? I mean, what other things were you going through during that first year other than just blood pressure issues?
I can absolutely say yes. Just knowing that she had been here and mom didn't even make an effort to introduce our child to, the other half of her being, it made me very angry.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I had to find out about our child through someone else was uh, was more disheartening than anything. I'm like, hey, regardless of what our relationship is, um, it doesn't have. I don't care about our relationship. Excuse me. Um, our relationship, intimate relationship, may come to an end, but our relationship and our child's relationship is two different relationships here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish more people understood that just because the intimate relationship is gone, you don't even have to be friends to be good co-parent. And
Mm.
I preach that over and over in my cases, whether I'm representing the woman or representing the man. I'm like, that part of the relationship is gone. Y'all not gonna hold hands and walk at the park together, the three of you, the child, and mom. That ain't gonna happen. But you all can be at the park together. You can be at a family reunion. You can be at a birthday party. You can be there. You can show this camaraderie to your child. And she could be with her husband and you could be with your new wife. The child just needs to see that mom and dad can get along. So now I know, I know you have custody of your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
So now I know that you've gone to court. So what made you decide, okay, I'm tired of just playing around with mom. I'm going to get a lawyer and I'm going to go to court.
Well, I could see that mom had no desire to act as a co-parent, on a personal agreement or on a personal basis. So I figured that's where we got to get involved with the courts, where we can't establish through a personal agreement. Then I guess we're just gonna have to do it through a legal agreement.
Okay. And so now you got a court order. Initially you just had visitation, right? Not custody, right?
Initially, I had not even had parental rights. I had to fight to get those due to another portion of our case. Once we got that established, I got parental rights. After parental rights, some time had went by. Again, I had worked towards getting visitation. So it was a step by step by step progress.
Okay.
Um, and even in that progress, of getting parental rights, I had the opportunity to, as the judge would say, or I had the opportunity to walk away because he said, hey, you don't have any parental rights to this child right now. In fact, you don't have any parental rights or responsibilities. So you could walk away, and and me personally, no, I can't walk away.
Mhm. So even when you're at so you got the first 4 years where you haven't bonded with the child, and now you're in the court system fighting to bond with your have a relationship with child, and then you're saying that the judge gave you another opportunity, basically, and I understand exactly what you're talking about. He said, "Sir, you don't have a child support obligation right now. You don't have any visitation. You don't have any parental rights. If you just walk away right now and walk out of this courtroom, you don't have nothing. You don't get nothing, but you don't have to pay anything." So with that second opportunity, you didn't just say, "Hey, I don't want to be paying for a child support for a child that I may not ever see."
Well, and much like you said, hey, that opportunity per se presented itself, but one, I don't personally see it as an opportunity for me, because if I can't be in her life and influence her and help her in any way I can, she loses.
Yeah.
So how can it be an opportunity for me when my legacy is gonna lose?
Yeah. So you kept fighting. You get visitation. So did you have problems even after you got a court order?
Hmm. Yes. Well, we got I got visitation. First it was just um every other, well, 2 weekends, just so we can actually be introduced to each other, so we can actually meet each other. Um, our first weekend came, we met. Um, it went well. It was slow at first, but it's still expected to be slow because I was still basically a stranger to her.
Right.
She had never seen me, heard me, or knew anything about me at all until the courts got involved. We finally met. We had a pretty good time once we got to know each other pretty good. And then the next weekend came, and when I saw her coming around that corner and she saw me, we saw each other, and it was big smiles both ways. We're both happy to see each other. So that went well. And then the following day, suddenly mom comes up with, oh, well, we can't make it. So she starts.
Right.
Mhm.
Right when that bonding happens. That's
Right. Just
oh,
when the
I'm not
project
surprised.
happens. Hmm.
She was there when your daughter ran up to you, was happy to see you, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
boy, that broke her heart. Unfortunately, soon as
Mhm.
sometimes when you're in these situations, as soon as mom see you, the child bonding to you, you would think that would be a wonderful moment for a mother to see the child loves me, the child loves the dad, the child is not nervous around the dad, the child is happy.
Mhm.
But instead, women who practice parental alienation, they will just go immediately into trying to pull the child away. So
Mhm.
after that, so was it the very next visitation when it was time to get it? Mom made an excuse.
It was, in fact, we had that good day on Saturday. That next day, Sunday, is when it's
Oh,
awesome.
the very next day, not even the
Very
next weekend.
right, correct.
And did it continue after that?
Absolutely. She made, again, there was no effort to let me be involved, no more than what would be court ordered. In fact, at some point we had to go back to court because I finally got the opportunity to get a summer visit.
Mhm.
And in that summer visit, she basically, and she purposely withheld her and would not let her come for her summer visit. In fact, I had gotten the police involved, but the police wasn't able to do any type of forced entry or even to make her come out. And myself and the police, watched her shadows as she peeped out of the blinds, knowing that she was there, that we were there for that summer visit. So we had to go back to court because she was violating the court orders to the at that point, to where she wouldn't let her come see me for the summer, visit and get to see my family for the summer. And The judge at that point said, hey, she decided, hey, if you're gonna continue to play these games, then we're gonna give him 45 days temporary, but
Mhm.
if he didn't comply, it would be permanent. And now she
So
lives with
how? So okay, I know I'm thankful that I do not know how this feels. So I need to hear from you. So how does it feel to finally get your daughter and to finally get that love that you've been waiting for, and then have it snatched away again?
the snatched away part. I kind of felt like I was like, okay, well, if you're gonna play that game, then we're gonna go back to court.
Mm-hmm.
And in some ways, I felt as though, I've heard many stories about our court system. Some of them not so good, some of them okay. But I know in some point, in some fashion, hey, you have to do some compliance here. Hey, mom and dad, you're not above the law. I'm sorry, you really not.
So unlike some of my clients that's, they so disgruntled with the court system, and sometimes they get disgruntled with the lawyers because they feel like we walk on water. So you have faith that if you just keep fighting, that eventually it was going to happen, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
And so throughout that course, when you just had visitation, would she comply sometimes, and then she would not comply sometimes?
Um, Absolutely. Actually, after that Sunday, we went right back into a complete winter where visitation was concerned.
Okay. What does that mean?
In other words, there was I didn't see her anymore.
Okay, so you got that. How many visits did you have before it went back to no more visitation?
I physically got 3 visits out of what should have been, well, actually, what should have been 6, I would say. Um, the third visit, like I said, third visit went great. Fourth visit, she disappeared. The next 2 visits, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she didn't show up at all.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely did not show up at all, and she knew that they were there.
Okay. So we know, like I say, we know the happy ending. The happy ending was that you ended up getting custody of your daughter. And was that because mom was just flatly not complying?
Absolutely, she remained non-compliant to the point to where they went ahead and, well, they started with our with doing our regular co-parent orders, and she was non-compliant to them.
Mm-hmm.
She made no effort to reach out. She made no effort to allow our daughter to reach out and say, "Hey, Dad, I got this toy or anything at all, or I like this cereal, or or I like this cartoon." I didn't get any communication where my daughter was concerned without going through the courts, with none whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. So
So,
now when the daughter was placed in your care at 4, she's
mhm.
really a stranger. You've only had two visits with her. So how did it feel having this 4-year-old child now just thrust in your care, and you don't even know, like you just said, you don't even know what kind of cereal she likes. So how was
Well,
that?
I have to make a small correction there. We
Mm-hmm.
met on those first few visits. She was 4 years old. 2 years went by.
Oh, okay. So it's the litigation is 2 years.
Years, yeah,
Okay.
we had 2 more years of litigation going through before I actually got that opportunity for the summer visit, which turned into a permanent.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm acting like I don't know the facts of your case, but yeah. Okay. So it's 2 years of fighting to get mom to comply,
Mm-hmm.
and then ultimately the judge just got frustrated and just said, "Okay, we're gonna try something new. We're gonna place the child with dad and let the mom see how it feels and not be able to have time with the child." Right? Just
Mm-hmm.
like that. Okay. And
Yes.
so mom got a taste of it, but mom, it wasn't enough to get mom to comply,
Mm-hmm.
correct? And so
Yes,
that's how you ended up with the permanent custody of your daughter, right?
absolutely.
Okay. So now, for the first period of time after the daughter is with you, mom has no contact. Is that right?
Yes, in fact, it almost a year seemed like might have went by before mom got any contact. And again, there were some good times, but there were some hard times. And through those hard times, I watched how my child suffered.
Mhm.
In fact, when mom did finally get around to petitioning for her visitation, I had already made plans to do that myself because I saw how it was affecting my child emotionally. Um, Regardless as to where our relationship is going, I and from I always wanted my child to understand one thing, that she came from two sides of her family, both her maternal and her paternal side. And I want
Mhm.
her to know them both, even to
Mhm.
this day.
So now, okay, so now the daughter's with you and she's suffering emotionally being away from her mother. So now you see what mom was going through
Mhm,
when after the daughter had connected with you, and now she doesn't see this her father anymore. So you know that she was going through that at mom's house.
mhm.
So now that how did you handle that with your daughter? You know, how did, because I'm sure moms deal with it. So how did you as a man handle the fact that you're watching your daughter suffer from her mom's stubbornness?
Well, as I said, I hadn't made an effort. I was just at the edge of making an effort to go back to the courts and say, hey, um, we need to set up some visitation for mom, because
Mm.
it would be one thing for me to say, I could possibly call mom, but I still didn't really have a number on mom, or no communication, and she still had every means of ability to call me. I hadn't heard anything from her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so she still had a means to call me, but I hadn't heard anything from her. So I was like, okay, well, if I'm not hearing anything from her where we can make a personal agreement, I know we're going to have to go through the court system, because if I were to try to take her to Jacksonville or allow her time in Tallahassee, who's to say she wouldn't try to take the child and disappear and say, oh, well, he said this, and it'll be my word versus her word instead of the written word.
Right, right. Yep. I'm a big fan, of course, with let's get a court order in place before you do anything, because I can't legislate these agreements that are being made by people outside of a court order.
Hmm.
So now fast forward. Now mom has a court order visitation. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so now, is everything perfect? Or are you still experiencing the same similar parental alienation type things?
Well, um, eventually we got everything going, and you know, suddenly I get several visits. Suddenly I start getting visits from DCF. Every time something, which my child has a language delay where sometimes she won't speak um, effectively, or it may not come out just right. So
Mm-hmm.
if something come out of her mouth and it don't sound just right, mom was all over it. Oh, he has this court order and I can't seem to win through the courts, so I'm gonna try a different avenue. I'm gonna get DCF to prove that he's an unfit dad, or he's not doing this, he's not doing that. Yeah, I've had several attacks to the point to where it would have been uncomfortable. I've seen where a lot of people are uncomfortable with DCF coming to the house. I had looked at them as though, hey, they were just another part of my life. I
Mm-hmm.
got quite comfortable with them and used to them.
And so when you say people, so you mean you were in relationship with women and they didn't want to be involved with you because DCF was already always at your house.
Well, that portion I was able to work around. I didn't have too much of an issue where that was concerned. I think in that situation where some of these women, some of them we may have just not worked out. I would say that much.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other end, I know there was some where, hey, just the fact that I had a child, hey, they wanted to be gone. But for as I was concerned, we're a package deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here, what I think of you, me and my child is a package deal.
So I know you're married now, and we discussed that your daughter and your wife is alone. Now, does it cause any difficulties in your marriage with the mother of your daughter not cooperating with the visitation and then sending DCF over there?
Well, by then we had gotten a better understanding. She had sent DCF to the point to where they had already told her they had already threatened her some jail time or possible ramifications with false allegations. She had made numerous false allegations. Some of them she just basically kind of brought upon for herself. And
Mm-hmm.
they had started to see that it was coming from the same area. They couldn't
Mm-hmm.
absolutely say it was the same person, but they kept noticing that it was all coming from the Jacksonville area, and it was only one person we could relate it to in the Jacksonville area.
Yeah.
Mom or family of mom. So it was mostly mom. And when they said, "Do you want to file a petition for false allegations?" Suddenly DCF stopped. She made multiple calls to law enforcement if she felt like she was upset for welfare checks, child welfare checks. In fact,
Or
I frightened one policeman. That's not a smart thing for any black man to do. Pardon me, people.
not at all.
These days, but let me explain that. He came in, and I heard the conversation. I know the words didn't come out of my daughter's mouth, right? So I knew there was going to be a visit that night. It
Mm-hmm.
was just the way it was worded. Uh, I got the knock on my door. I go to my door. He said, "Is this Mr. I said, "Hey, man, yes, I was expecting you. Come on in." He jumped back. He said, "Hey, I don't know what the dynamics of this is." I said, "Hey, no." I said, "Calm down, officer." I said, "Listen, I get calls for welfare checks all the time. You're here to see my daughter. Her mother's called. The mother got up. She said something to her mom, and her mom immediately jumped on it to call you guys right away, and you're here." I said, "Yes, I was expecting you because I know something came out of my daughter's mouth. It didn't come out right. So mom jumped over the opportunity to have you guys to come out in the hopes that you will see me, black man, and hopefully, hey, maybe they'll do something to him, like take him to jail or worse."
Yeah.
Um,
And then she'll get custody because
and she was
you're
going
out of the
custody.
way. Now you're in jail, or even if you don't stay in jail, now you got a criminal record. So
Uh-huh.
now I can swoop in and get custody of my daughter back
Yeah,
all these years
or
later.
you gone permanently.
Yeah.
Um,
So now 15.
mhm.
Please tell me at least that things have calmed down. I mean, like they're smooth, no DCF, no police, no parenting alienation, no bad talk. Please tell me that now she's 15.
I could tell you part of that. I could tell you that the DCF has stopped.
Okay, great.
I could tell you that stopped once I remarried and she heard I was remarried. She attempted to do DCF um, on to my wife because we had an incident where I told my, well, my daughters is of age now. Well, hey, these kids, they go through puberty a lot faster now.
Mm-hmm.
I, to basically say, if she needs help, um,
Don't embarrass your daughter. Look,
yeah,
don't be like Ti and say anything that's going to embarrass your daughter.
yeah, I like, hey, if she needs help with hygiene,
Uh-huh.
if she needs help with hygiene, could you assist her? Because hey, I'm her dad. I'm a healthcare professional. I understand that, but on the same time, I'm her dad. She's my daughter, and I know when she starts reaching a certain age, some things about her body may be a little more embarrassing to try to show in front of dad, whether he's a healthcare professional or not. So, but if I show it in front of a woman, it's no big deal. So I was like, hey, if you could assist her with some hygiene where that's concerned, great. And it came up.
Okay, so wait. Why didn't, and this is what I get from the mothers,
Uh-huh.
why didn't you just call mom and say, can you deal with this hygiene issues? Why go to your wife?
We've made it because we're on very opposite ends of that same issue. Um, I have to go into a little more detail.
No, I am not gonna let you say.
No,
I know
no,
you're.
not too far.
I'm
Not
not
too
gonna
far.
let you say anything that embarrasses her.
Oh, no, no, no,
She's
no,
gonna
no,
be
no,
like,
no,
"Oh, Dad, I can't believe you said
no.
that."
I would say more so for like for your underarms,
Right.
for shaving and getting rid of hair to eliminate any foul odor or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, hey, if she needs help with shaving, I think it would be good, which mom feels as though it would upset her normal flora. But hey, I can tell her you're gonna have a normal flora regardless of whether the hair is there or not. And actually it'll help with eliminating odor slash
Okay, you're going too far.
okay.
Just okay. We're gonna suffice it to say that
Okay. Yeah,
you
but
and the
it would help
mother,
me hygiene. I'll just say that.
yeah,
Okay.
y'all disagreed, and so you
Mhm.
knew you weren't gonna make no progress talking to mom, so you talked to the wife about it.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
I'm here. I practice law for the children, so I don't want your daughter calling me going, Miss Neibra. Hey, I did my best. Like, Daddy embarrassed me. Now she's walking around like this, like her life is ended because Daddy has embarrassed her. Not that she will ever see this video, because she ain't even bit more concerned about anything we talked about.
at
But
all.
okay, so there's still a lack of communication between you and mom. That has not improved at all.
No, no.
Okay.
Um, I would love to see us be able to communicate where our daughter's concerned. Now there were one or two times she shocked me and I was impressed. There was
What
one or
did she
two
do to
times
shock you?
where our daughter had gotten sick, or she might have gotten a sinus infection or so, because she has allergies at times, especially when the pollen's really bad. She got a
Mm-hmm.
sinus infection and mom took her to the doctor. And she said, hey, she's on this medicine right here. Can you please make sure she gets this medicine? I'm like, wow, the fact that she even communicated this appropriately, regardless of what we had going on, your concern was more towards our child. That's all I asked for.
There you go. So what about from your end?
So,
Now
and
the shoe
then
is on the other foot. Do
mhm,
you communicate to mom on all the things that you wish she had communicated to you about?
I try to communicate where I think that we can, but and there are some situations where I just don't feel as though we can really talk. I would
Mm-hmm.
love to be able to have an audience, but I know that I just don't feel like it's welcome. I
Okay.
don't feel like my audience is. I don't feel like my audience is welcome. So I'm just gonna, for the most part, it's just gonna be on a basis where if it's acutely concerning, she's just gonna have to hear from.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, so I am so happy that, first of all, I'm happy that you didn't give up
Oh,
after the first 4 years. I know you went through some things, some emotional and physical changes as a result of not seeing your child. And then you get an attorney, you pay all the money in attorney's fees, and you rely on the courts, and you're still going through challenges. So I'm very, very thankful that you did not give up, because I am a firm believer that children need to have both of their parents. And if they don't have another parent, they're missing out on half of them. And I dare say what this one side of the family is telling the child about the other side of the family, because it not only affects the child's relationship with her father, but it also affects that child's relationship with the grandmother and the extended family, the father's extended family. And I'm a grandmother. My son has made me a grandmother. So I can't even imagine not having a relationship with my granddaughter, no more than my son not having a relationship with his daughter. That was not even, giving up and walking away is not even, was not even in the realm of possibility with my son, because I said, you have this baby, And you're gonna love on that baby. You're gonna have time, and I'm gonna love on the baby, and my mama gonna love on the baby, and my brother, my other son is gonna love. We're gonna all have a relationship with your child. So if you ain't ready to step up while the baby's in the belly, you better be ready to step up when the baby's born. And he has, and I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of you as well. So I want to thank you, first of all, for agreeing to do this interview and agreeing to open up and share. And I want to thank you for not giving up on your daughter.
No thanks needed, but very well welcome.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Dezohn. I'm sure I'll be hearing, I'm excited for graduation because your daughter has grown up with me. So I am very bonded to you and her. So I'm looking forward to graduation, and I hope things get better between you and her mother.
Me too.
All right. Have a good one.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you very much.